Hey, Lady Danny here, and welcome back to Clover Week. So now that you know clover is edible and usable, I want to give you some warning. The first is about white clover, Trifolium repens. While white clover is totally edible from the aerial parts to the root, it's not exactly the tastiest bit. It's more in the survival food category. You see, only the blossoms are truly tasty. The leaves are, shall we say, an acquired taste and more like a tolerated edible. And while they're digestible in small amounts when they're young, older leaves really need to be cooked. And when it comes to harvesting these, you really need to either use them within 30 minutes or allow them to dry thoroughly. You see, once picked, white clover starts to produce cyanide components. If you allow them to dry thoroughly for 4 to 6 weeks or use them in a dehydrator to make sure that they're thoroughly dry, then those cyanides dissipate. But for this reason, you should not use them in any fermentation. I mean, any fermentation. The same, however, does not apply to red clover, Trifolium pratense. Red clover contains isoflavones, also known as phytoestrogens. These isoflavones are chemically bound to a sugar molecule. In the fermentation progress, the sugar molecule is set free, leaving you with an isoflavone aglycone. And that is more readily bioavailable in your body and can be helpful for things like helping to stave off osteoporosis or helping with hormonal. Sweet clover, Melaloid. That sweet vanilla-y hay scent that you smell comes from the presence of coumarins. It's the plant's version of coumadin or warfarin, or even rat killer. And therein lies the problem. If sweet clover is not dried properly and immediately, there's a fungus that can form that will turn coumarin into dicoumarol, which is toxic. Technically, coumarin is not a blood thinner, but it lengthens the time in which it takes blood to clot. So when the mold forms in conjunction with coumarin, then you have a problem, like in 1932, when a bunch of cows died of sweet clover disease. They simply bled out. Vitamin K, which helps clot your blood, is the antidote for this. But please, if you're going to use this, make sure what you have is absolutely dry and mold-free. So to recap, make sure white clover dries thoroughly, you consume it within 30 minutes, or dry it for 4 to 6 weeks. Also, stick with the white blossoms, not the brown ones. With red clover, dry, but you can also ferment and take advantage of the bioavailability of your phytoestrogens. And with yellow sweet clover, please make sure that this is totally dry and no mold or moisture forms in between, or you could have a whole world of hurt. Remember, improper storage can make you very sick, cause edema, vomiting, and worse.